what we're going to do now for our final activity is we're going to play a game of true or false, and we're going to challenge some of these myths or misunderstandings about what mental health is and what it isn't.
Quarriers Resilience for Wellbeing Service is a service that supports young people up to the age of 18 to manage and cope with their mental health and emotional well-being. Our main core service is school-based, so I have resilience practitioners in each of the secondary schools across the Scottish borders, and we also support primary 6 and primary 7 children as well.
We're down at Hoyt Youth under 18s rugby training tonight to deliver an on-pitch mental health awareness session. What that is a series of rugby-based activities that they'll be familiar with, but this time we've dropped in some key mental health messages throughout. So it's getting them to engage with a topic that we don't usually as rugby players spend that much time talking about, but we think as a service it's really important that they do, and they engage with mental health and start to normalise conversations about mental health.
It's important to check in with your teammates because you never know what they're going through. You're not in their head, so it's good to keep going with them and ask them quite consistently if they're alright, just to make sure, even though they might be. And if they're no, then it's good that you've asked, because then they can come and speak to you. Or the same goes if you're wanting to speak to someone.
So the rugby-based service came about because in analysing our data, we've been operational now for over 4 years. We had seen there was a gap. There was a gap in supporting predominantly young males between the ages of 16 and 18. Stigma, discrimination, they weren't accessing the service. However, we know, and all of the evidence tells us, that young men are struggling with their mental health.
When it comes to the physical side of rugby, we're really good at it. We're good at understanding the contact skills. When we get an injury, we might go see the physio. We're in the gym to try and get stronger and develop our bodies. But when it comes to the mental side, we're not quite as familiar with it. We don't necessarily know who to speak to when we need support, exercises or coping strategies you can use when times get tough, and just other life skills that are important in sport but also outside of sport. And I think the earlier and the more we can get young rugby players engaging with mental health and talking about mental health, not only with us as a service but also with their teammates, it's just going to really benefit them as they go out throughout their rugby careers but also in their everyday lives.
There certainly is a stigma still around mental health, especially in rugby, and that's certainly something that I know Quarriers and everyone within rugby and Scottish Rugby has tried to get rid of that stigma. And as I say, if we can do that in rugby and we can ensure that we're trying to do all we can within rugby and mental health, that'll transfer over to society as well. We look at the benefits tonight here with Doug coming down, and he's doing some work with our under-18s tonight. He's had conversations with our younger squads as well, and just, as I say, having that point of contact and having more people that the boys and girls in the town can trust to speak about mental health can only benefit everybody going forward.
When it comes to mental health, we can sometimes feel awkward to speak about it, uncomfortable to speak about it, and sometimes lack the confidence to open up those conversations. And hopefully through the sessions like we did tonight, where we're getting the guys to engage with mental health, learn different key messages about it, we're giving them that confidence to, check in with their teammate, ask a friend how they're doing. If they notice a friend's maybe missed a few training sessions, not being the usual self, we're giving them the ability or confidence just to say, how are you doing, and really asking it twice and making sure they check in with that person, because it's so important that we're looking after each other on the pitch, but also, as I've mentioned, looking after each other off the pitch as well.